Welcome back to Light Science Studios, guys, and today we are doing a video that is long overdue, a review of the Smove mobile stabilizer. All right, welcome back, guys, and thank you so much for joining me today. I've had this Smove mobile stabilizer for a couple months now and feel confident in giving you guys a full review. So we're going to be going through the pros, the cons, and those little personality traits that this particular stabilizer has so that you don't have to go through the learning curve that I did. All right, well, first thing, when you get your stabilizer, you're gonna need to make sure it is balanced, as with all stabilizers. And to do that, you wanna make sure your phone is secure in the grip, and then we wanna make sure it is horizontal. If it dips to one side or another, like that, you simply need to pull or push here, and it clicks a couple times until it gets to a point where it likes to stay horizontal. So that's pretty good right there. Once you get the stabilizer balanced, we can go ahead and turn it on by pushing and holding the center button here. It'll snap up to center and you're good to go. Now, the stabilizer can be used with your regular phone camera, or it does come with a Smove mobile app. Now, the app is something that, quite honestly, I don't use that often. Even though the app has a lot of great features, such as being able to zoom the camera with the control here, being able to do motion time lapse, and being able to switch back and forth between selfie mode through a few clicks of the trigger, I just didn't find the app to be very homogeneous. It didn't feel like it was one. I never felt quite connected to it. There's a little bit of lag at times with some of the commands you do, and it just didn't run as smoothly as I would like, and it's hard for me to even put into words, because it's not that it didn't work, it's not that it doesn't work, it just doesn't feel good to use. I know that's very vague, it probably doesn't help you out at all, but the other thing that I found was odd is the files that were being produced through the Smove mobile app were not always being read by Premiere Pro, and I would have to convert the files from their original format into, even if it was just to another MP4, before Premiere Pro would recognize them. So that's why I've opted more or less to using just a standard phone camera on my iPhone 10 here. Now, as far as the stabilization quality, well, I've actually been very happy with it overall. If you've been watching my vlogs over the past couple months, whether you realize it or not, you've been seeing the Smove mobile in action. Pretty much for all of my vlogs, I've been filming on this anytime I have my phone, and it hasn't really let me down. The stabilization quality is fantastic, and the battery life lasts at least a whole day. I absolutely love the selfie stick mode. That extra reach, especially when I hold it down at the bottom, makes it really nice to be able to get unique angles, low angles, high angles, being able to do crane shots, and being able to do my favorite transition, which is the whoosh, swoosh transition. Now, a couple little things that you want to be aware of when you're using this gimbal: you can't just turn one direction or another, because the gimbal will always want to keep the camera straight, pointing directly forward more or less. So you can see, even as I move, it's not really wanting to turn. So when you want to actually turn the camera, what you have to do is actually rotate the handle. And as you rotate the handle, the camera itself, or the phone, will move. So you kind of learn to coordinate your motions as you're walking and you're turning to kind of turn your wrist down here to get the camera to face a different direction. Now, it has some standard features that we've come to expect from handheld gimbals. Things like holding down the trigger button to lock the camera in place so that it won't move. Whether you go up, down, left, right, side to side, it'll stay locked on the position it was in. Double click, double tap to reset. So if you get to a point where it is maybe facing down or up, just double click and it resets to front. Now, one thing that was very confusing to me when I was trying to figure it out, even after watching other people's YouTube videos, is how to change it into vertical mode. Now, the way you'll see people explain it in other YouTube videos is to simply hold down the trigger and push the center mode button. And for the longest time, no matter how many times I tried it, it wouldn't work for me. It just would sit there. And you can see, if I hold this down right now and push that center mode button, it doesn't do anything. It just stays there. And I try hitting it twice and 3 times. I try all these different things. I thought it was broken. I didn't know what the deal was. So I came to find that in order to get it into vertical mode, you actually have to hold it straight out. Once it's straight out like this, I can hold the trigger, push that mode button, and it will in fact change to vertical orientation. Now, honestly, I didn't find this to be too useful because you don't have anywhere near the same mobility or range of motion in this mode as you do when it's in the regular horizontal mode. You can see right now, it's kind of like not even looking at me. I don't even know what it's doing. And you have to hold it out like this whenever you're in this mode or it won't work. Now, to return back to horizontal mode, you just give the trigger 2 clicks and it will switch back to there. Now this got a little bit turned around. Let's see if we can get it back to where we had it. There we go. Okay. So yeah, you have to always use it in this orientation when you're doing it vertically or it won't work. So that takes away a lot of flexibility. So I don't really use it this way much, but that is how you get it into this mode if you want to. And then again, to return it back to horizontal, just double click on the trigger and we're back. Now, another con to this, which is just more of an inconvenience than anything else, is when you want to do low shots. Unfortunately, you can't just continue down all the way to the bottom and have it stay here. You'll notice right there, it likes to flip over and face backwards. Well, that makes it an issue when you're trying to do either a high to low shot or even starting low and coming high for a nice crane shot, because you always have to keep the gimbal outwards to be low. So that means you have to get down at a low angle so you can hold it along the ground as you walk this way, because as soon as it dips down past here, it'll flip over. And that was quite annoying because I don't want to film myself when I'm holding it down. I just want to be able to hold it upside down and walk with it this way. So that was one of my biggest pet peeves with this, and not being able to just do those nice low hanging shots. Of course, you can get it into this position and then simply turn it around and walk with it that way. But again, if you want to do it from here and bring it up, it's going to flip around again. So that was a little bit annoying. As far as the controls here, we can use the little thumb button to go up and down, do tilt and pan. I wish that there were some sensitivity controls to where we could make it a little bit faster and more responsive, but that's something that, if it is a feature, I have not been able to figure it out yet. So currently we're stuck with about this rate of motion, down, up, and it doesn't go much faster than that. But overall, I've been very pleased with the responsiveness this gimbal has. You can walk, run, jump. This thing is going to hold your phone steady and give you nice, smooth footage. Actually, the only downside to it that I've noticed is, for some reason, my phone will give me a bit of distortion or weird digital vibrations when it's trying to stabilize internally, and it kind of fights the stabilizer externally, so you get this weird digital jumping around occasionally, or distortion from that internal stabilization. Now, the other thing that I'm either a little confused on or just haven't been able to figure out yet is really how to dial in the moving time lapse. Now, by hitting this mode button 4 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, it puts it into time lapse or memory mode, where I can program the movement over time. So I set it to the first starting position with the pan and tilt, and I hit the button once and it records that as a starting point, and then I move it in the exact way I want it to move with the time lapse, and I end it there and I pushed it again, and it will return to the starting point and start moving to that end point. Now, I don't know if you could tell when I was trying to move it around there, but it fought me quite a bit. The motors were fighting me. I couldn't really move it the way I wanted to, and results have always kind of varied for me. Now, in the Smove mobile app, I believe you can change how quickly it moves through this process, and there's a couple other settings you can play with, but that is one thing I haven't been able to dial in as well as I would like to, and I don't know if that's a lack of understanding on my part or just kind of a faulty function with the gimbal. Now, it is nice that you're able to do both right-handed and left-handed modes here. To get it into left-handed mode, you kind of just have to flip it over until it pops up the other way like that. Now the camera's on this side, and hold it with left hand, and then to get it back to right-handed mode, you just do it again the opposite way. It's kind of a little twist and churn and bring it back up there. Well guys, all in all, I've been very happy with my purchase of the Smove mobile stabilizer, and would highly recommend it. Again, it does have its little quirks, which any product does. But once you get used to those quirks, it's very seamless in its use, and the functionality it has is very useful. Again, things like remembering just to rotate the wrist as you churn, remembering not to go down too far or it'll flip over, and remembering that if you want to change it to vertical mode, you have to have it in like a flashlight mode first, and then it'll flip over. But other than that, everything works pretty much how you would expect it to if you've used a handheld gimbal before. And if you haven't used a handheld gimbal before, it is a very easy one to pick up and start using. Well, thanks so much for spending some time with me today, guys. Please post any questions you have in the comments below. I've posted a link to Smove Mobile in the description, and if you've already gotten yours, let me know what you think. Let me know if you've had the same type of issues that I talked about, and how you like it. As always, I'd really appreciate a like on this video and subscribe if you haven't already. And of course, remember to hit the little bell icon so you get notified every time I upload. We will look forward to seeing you soon, guys. Thanks so much. We'll see you later. But I haven't used any others that much, so I wouldn't know.